been friends since I was a
Say what
little
you
boy.
want, you know.
It's always been, I don't know, I can get close to that place, my heart breaks. It's just a good place.
I hadn't heard anything. I don't know if he's coming. Chris should be. He's on his way. He said he's running a little late, but he's on.
Saw your daughter did a lot of singing.
She did fabulous.
Was that the one where they had the power outage?
Yes.
How was it?
Wonderful.
They ran an extension cord from a couple buildings down.
I heard
That's what
about
I
that.
understood.
Open the door.
Was it?
I mean, you didn't have the lights or anything, but you could hear their voices were projected very well. It was great. And then when the power came on, it came on at the perfect moment, and that was a huge encore. It was great.
That's cool.
It was
And she
great.
said there was only like a couple of footlights, were the only lights they had for the first half.
Yeah.
But you could still
It was
see.
enough.
It was great. I'm telling you, it was great.
Well, she was excited about it because she said, you know, that's an experience that she's never had. Raw.
The show must go on.
Yeah, and just putting it
And
on
it did.
in the raw. And she was really excited about it. David Conrad wrote
Bad.
texted me last night, told me that he was there also.
Oh, yeah.
And he really liked it. He liked the power outage.
I felt like it made it more interesting. It made my day.
We saw it last Wednesday, and I was kind of impressed. There's a lot of
I was telling you, I want to know how much it costs. Well, the Jessie, the girlfriend in the play.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jessie. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Okay.
Tell you later.
There's Chris. Just in time. All right. Linda, please lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
September already. Welcome to the September meeting of the Calvert City Council, and we are live on video conference, and we missed our call to order by about 5 minutes, but it's okay. I'll ask everybody if you had a chance to review the minutes. We'll take a motion in a second.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Do we have any visitors or petitioners tonight?
I'm a visitor.
You're a visitor? Well, hello.
Hi, how are y'all?
You did all right? Okay. You wanna come on up or?
Sure.
Oh, come on up.
Nothing like being first.
Well, we always have, no, we're not trying to get rid of you or anything. You're more than welcome to
Actually, I gotta
stay.
take my grandson to McDonald's to teach her some service.
Okay.
That's a good one right there.
We're gonna get you so we can hear you on the recording. Do a little heart transplant to the microphone.
Got a pacemaker, might as well have that to go with
Well,
it.
there you go. Okay.
Okay, my name's Rhonda Pratsky.
Okay.
What I'm here to address or ask, or who knows, or who could tell me. Back in February, I attended the meeting at the library
Right.
and have read several articles and stuff that there are 3 air quality control monitors here within the city.
Right.
And so I was wondering, who monitors them?
The state of Kentucky
Okay,
has their own environmental protection cabinet,
right,
and they have an air section, and the state of Kentucky personnel take the data from those air monitors. Now, they had a study period going, and the study period is what they reported on, and that was with Region 4 EPA. That's federal EPA.
okay,
They took a look at the Kentucky data, and that was what the public meeting was about, was let the public have a information about what the findings were
okay.
and see what the comments were. So exactly where we are on monitoring those right now, I'm not exactly sure. Okay. So that belongs to the state of Kentucky.
Okay,
And when I say that belongs, the regulatory, they have the personnel and administer the statutes and stuff that go with that.
so
So
would that have been like Mike Kennedy that was at the meeting that was over the Region 4?
I would have to go back through and check that. Several. So we had a contingency of state personnel and also had kind of a mirror of the federal Region 4 people. I'd have to go through, but we may have no,
Michael Kennedy is the Kentucky Air.
So he would be the one who would have that.
You'd probably get more specific data from the Paducah Regional Office as
Okay,
far as
that's
the
what I
data.
was reaching out for,
Yeah.
because in finding that out is that I realized that those boxes aren't monitored 7 days a week, correct?
They continuously run.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, they told me they weren't, and I'm just back fresh on a trip from Washington DC. And so I'll tell you just a few brief things about me. I have angiosarcoma. Don't know how many of you know what that is, but you might want to go home tonight and look it up. It is a cancer that is directly linked to vinyl chloride. I lived 10 years right out by the plant. I now live right across the river. I'm not in the middle of a lawsuit, but I am in the process of going forward, trying to set up a program similar to what USEC has, that because it wasn't until February of this year that they actually said to the community, yes, it is environmental. We've always believed it was just within the workers. So I think that there's a lot more people in the region that have it than I do. I was very fortunate. I had a doctor that when they said it's undetermined and we don't know what it is, had it sent to Mayo Clinic for a diagnosis. My doctor in Nashville said most oncologists or pathologists will never see this in their career. So I really think there's a lot more, and that's my only goal, is to see people, if they have illnesses, to be treated and seen by somebody who might know what it is. I mean, I think if you're dying, you at least need to know why. They gave me a year. I'm here three years. I figure God wants me to put my feet and mouth in motion.
okay.
I appreciate all your time.
Well, I'm sorry for your illness,
Uh-huh.
and we can help you get contacts to talk to at federal EPA and at
Okay.
state. Okay,
I would
so
like
you
to.
can call, or you can send me an email, and if you want a particular name, I have a contact at Region 4 who's been part of this air quality survey and part of the release, and she's in Atlanta, and she's been assigned our case.
Uh-huh.
Or this situation and public comment on that.
Okay.
So I can, certainly get you in contact with her,
Okay.
and if there's a federal resource that you need to talk to, we can get you the name.
All
Okay.
right. I appreciate
And we know people at the state too.
that. Right.
And so, going through whatever you need to do, we can give you the names of folks to probably the best guess of where you can start. I don't really know what you need.
Well, I just, like I said, I think, and I am not here, I want everybody to have a job. So that's the first thing. You get accused of being the black eye in the community. I don't want nobody to lose their job.
Right.
But I also don't think a job is more important than somebody's life
Right.
or health. So I'm just saying, hey, make the chemicals. Do what you need to do. Make it as safe for the public as you can, and be as honest with the people as you can. For all these years, people have not believed until February, 1 iota, that it was possible for it to be environmental. And now that we know it is, I want to know how much. My kids went to school.
Right. Well, so I mean, you can get a copy of the report, and that's where you got to start, and then contact and then you can contact the region office and ask what's the ongoing plans, or what they're doing with further data gathering. And I don't think anybody's going to say that the health and well-being of the community is less important than the economic impact of the plants. And quite frankly, that gets said a lot. And it's said by people who believe it to be true. I don't believe that to be true. Okay. And the plants are regulated. They are to meet with regulations, and that they have to operate safely. They're not going to be allowed to operate within the laws of the U.S. And when you have a dialogue saying, well, it's either great jobs or health problems. I haven't encountered anybody, an elected official or even people in the community who think that's okay.
Sir, have you ever reviewed their board meetings?
The what?
Have you ever reviewed any of the board meetings?
Which
from-
board?
From Westlake?
No.
I'll send you the email. Thank you all for your time. I don't want to be nobody's problem. I want answers.
Okay.
And I've been to Washington DC. They called me out there because the cancer is so rare that people want to know. I've joined the Angiosarcoma Association because they told me at Mayo Clinic they don't have enough people. They can't study the cancer because they don't have enough people. It's not that it's not there. My doctor told me he done 8,000 biopsies and he never seen a cancer like that and didn't think it was a cancer, but he had it sent off. So I just think there's a lot more of it here, and I want some comprehensive testing for the people, not only in Calvert City. Like I told them, my grandson graduated from Marshall County High School last year. My granddaughter's going to Livingston County High School. She's closer to that air than he was.
Mm.
All right, thank y'all for your time.
Thank you.
Ma'am. Last name.
Oh,
And then they also speak on my son, I'm Joshua Tabor. So I went to school at Calvert Elementary.
Okay, what's your name again?
Joshua Tabor,
Okay,
yes, sir. And I'm Miss Bratsky's son. So I
Okay.
accompanied her to Washington DC, and they told us that's very proud that we came because Calvert City wasn't even on their map.
oh, really?
If you believe that.
I don't believe it,
know if you
especially after what
speak of
the
Dr.
EPA
Sarah-
Region
I'm sorry.
4. I said, I actually don't believe that because Region 4 just did that air quality survey. That's kind of hard to believe.
I'm sorry, maybe that was.
You can't believe Washington.
Maybe that was our.
Sadly.
All right.
So if you're referring to Dr. Sarah Taft, I reached out to her on after the event on the 6th. And so I don't know if my mother asked that question. That's one of the questions that I would like clarification on. So what type of outage it was that was on June 6th? And was it really a planned outage?
That kind of outage does not get reported to the city of Calvert City. We don't have any regulatory authority over those regulations. We don't employ anybody who could police that or do any of that sort of thing. But they do have to make reports, okay? And the place to look at would start with that Eagles Nest Drive in Reedland. Call up there and talk to the DAQ people. And if there's an outage reported, there should be data. There will be data
Yes,
or
sir.
something else.
And I spoke with them, and I spoke with the director, Mike, over the environmental air quality control for the state of Kentucky. I also spoke with Dr. Taft when she was here. I reached out to her after June 6th.
Right.
After the Marshall County, I know that's not Calvert City, but after the Marshall County Sheriff's Department put out a statement that it was no issue for concern.
The sheriff's department?
Yes, sir.
Really? Okay. What was the date?
June
June the 6th, so I
Okay.
believe they put out that statement. I don't know if that was.
Oh, that
6th or
was the
7th.
power outage?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I'm the one that did the interview with WPSD.
Mayor,
I
that
don't know
was
if you- anyone
discussed
seen
at
that.
the advisory board.
Okay, right. Yeah. So there were, I mean, the
And so we've been asking for clarification since then. But so anyways. this
the
is my
Kentucky
letter.
DAQ will have an outage report on that.
Yes, sir. And so, like I told Dr. Sarah Taft that evening, it doesn't take 70 years to live in Calvert City because my mother's only 60. And she's not originally from here. She's from Illinois. She's only lived here since like 1970 something. I was born in 1980. So realistically, as long as you guys are aware and the citizens within the community are aware, my mom's not asking you to quit producing vinyl chloride like they're trying to ban it in Washington or Westlake. So if you guys aren't familiar, there's also Westlake, Louisiana. Are you familiar with that? Okay. So you might be familiar with the past that they had there. And so we have a beautiful lake and we have a beautiful community and we have a lot of wonderful citizens. And so that's what my mother's asking you to consider
I understand.
is to keep an extra on Westlake, regardless of whose commitment that is. If it's the EPA's, Calvert City's, the state of Kentucky, we all have a responsibility here.
It's Region 4,
Yes, sir. I understand.
Federal EPA, Kentucky Department of Energy Protection or Environmental Protection, and the DAQ. And they have come out and they're informing people. I'm not trying to defend anything, but the city of Calvert City is very limited.
Can you tell me why it took so long?
No, I can't. I cannot because I don't work for those agencies, Josh.
And was you guys aware that those air monitors wasn't being, was the city of Calvert aware that the air monitors was not being monitored for the 20-year period that they were installed, that they were not monitored?
I'm not aware of that or not, but
So we're just asking for a little more diligence in the future. I know it's not your responsibility. You've only been the mayor since Mr.
Well, I think what he's trying to tell you, as a city as a whole,
Understand.
Josh,
we don't
Josh,
have-
let me be clear.
Yeah.
The city does not have, well, obviously we care about the health of our community.
Yes, sir. And I'm sure.
We certainly do. But as far as it goes on doing anything with enforcement of air quality or monitoring how well someone's doing, we're a concerned citizen just like you.
Okay.
And
Okay.
several of this council were up at the meeting with you the night they had it. And so we've read the reports. We're trying to keep in touch. But as far as the expectation that somebody reports to us, whether or not something's being monitored or whether we had a stick to do something with it. It just doesn't exist at the city level in the state of Kentucky. Now, some cities can have done that. Like Louisville has an air quality thing because they were doing that before the state EPA actually got on board with Louisville. And so there's some special regs and stuff up there. Okay. But as far as it goes in this community and how it is with Region 4 on it and the state, I mean, it's just, I mean, for a town the size of Calvert City, it's just not in our ability to do anything legally. Now, as far as us being able to, as elected officials, me being the mayor, keeping abreast of it and understanding it and talking to people and moving along and trying to make sure the people, I'm all about that. That's why you're allowed to speak today and why we're interested in what your mom has to say. And by the way, I'm sorry that she's having a health impact of any kind, especially one that looks like she's, could be environmentally influenced. Be wanting to know more.
Only comes from exposure to vinyl chloride.
Okay.
So I've done the research. So the other question was, her question was about, which we'll look at farther, we'll try to figure out who turns on and off the air quality monitors, why they're only monitored 3 days a week. And so,
well, Josh, I don't even know that's an accusation. It's true or
not,
not, but you got to start at Eagles Nest Drive and ask those hard questions up there.
I've asked the Kentucky Air Quality Control. Nobody knows who controls. That's what they tell you. They don't know who turns them on and off.
Well, that doesn't sound like an answer that they would give because I see their trucks out there regularly servicing them. They should have the answer to that
So on
question.
June the 6th, the Kentucky Air Quality Control had mobile units in the area because the monitors was turned off. And I don't think if they was their monitors, they would
Who said they were turned off? Where did you get that
Kentucky
information?
Air Quality Control, when I spoke to him on that day.
Well, then I would think if they were turned off, they should know that. I would go on up to the federal
So
then. If
we're
they,
waiting for the open records request. Okay, that's all the questions they had.
Well, Josh, I hope you get an answer to that.
Yes, sir. I hope so as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
And when
that's
you
why
do
I
get
said
an
Mr.
answer to it,
Jones, he did a lot for the community in the back half that's right behind the school. I'm sure he wanted well for the children, but as we know, so they're installing the charcoal filters in the school system for the kids.
we don't have any.
We don't run the
control
school
of them.
system
We don't
either.
know. We
No,
don't-
they said they were at the meeting. Yes, sir.
They said that they would look into the project with
And I'm
Marsh
not-
County
I'm
School
with my
System.
mom. I was raised in Calvert City. I love Calvert City.
I went to Calvert Elementary School. My kids went to Calvert Elementary School. Many of us have been around here our whole lives. So yes, we are absolutely interested in what's going on with that,
Okay.
with all of it. So if you get an answer why they turned them off, I'd love to get an email and explain it.
Okay. Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks,
Thank you
Josh.
for your time. I'll forward you that information if I ever find it.
All right.
Josh Tabor.
Joshua Tabor. Yes, ma'am.
PABOR.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Thank you.
Any other visitors or petitioners? No? Okay. All righty. Old business. We got some reports on old business. Anybody have any questions about old
How
business?
much you gonna go through projects?
Well, we can go through projects at the end. That's our normal flow.
I thought so.
It is.
You want me to report that the Bailey case is over?
That'd be a good.
That's kind
That
of
would be
old
nice.
business.
Well,
Good to
it's
know.
new
Yeah.
business.
That's very old
That's
business.
kind of old business, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Let's hear
that
it.
case is, well, they filed bankruptcy and there's been no activity out there for well over 2 years. And as a result, that entity is no longer operating. Any grandfathering that existed at the time is long gone. And the civil action that we filed a long time ago, just seeking an injunction from operating, is now moot because it's not operating.
Okay.
And
So if a buyer came along and wanted to buy a Calvert City quarry, and then they wanted to commence quarrying operations,
That's conditional use permit. They would have to request a conditional use permit and be granted one.
okay. That
The
go through our
the activity's been going for more than a year.
Yeah.
And therefore it is no
Well,
longer,
Way more.
yeah, but if it's gone, if that activity's gone for more than a year or a year longer, it's no longer, you can't just carry it forward.
It's not, the generic term is grandfathered. It's no longer grandfathered.
Yeah, it's no longer a non-conform, or a conforming use, or non-conforming use.
So that's kind of a smiler.
Yes, it is.
That's off the table.
So that's where the explosions were coming from that we would hear.
Well, we would all assume
And
that.
the cracked foundations that people were talking about.
Yeah, and we pursued that. We requested some of the folks who were talking about having cracked foundations and so forth. And they talked to some attorneys about pursuing that, but no one ever did. So why, we don't know. I mean, it's not really our position to promote private action, and they didn't file any. And now our action was totally aimed at
Stop it.
ceasing it was a nuisance action. It was just ceasing a nuisance. Well, it's ceased, and it's ceased long enough now that it's not an issue anymore. So there's certainly no point in our dragging it out any further. So we're letting it be dismissed.
So we got a big old hole full of water.
Well, we don't, but whoever owns that piece of property does. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I've not been out there, but I understand there's a big hole. Probably full of water in the spring.
Yeah, that,
Might not be now.
Be dry now. I don't know.
No kidding.
Okay.
just leave that.
Other old business. I've got nothing to report on old business. Churchill Downs. So I guess I'd like to say that my understanding of where they're at, they're still moving forward in regards to the real estate. They've got options and they're doing due diligence and they're still putting together their plan. And I've been watching for trying to bookmark when an announcement by Churchill is made. And I believe it's going to be a pretty comprehensive announcement, that it should have, some artist rendering and some timetables and, all that opening thing. And I get to ask those questions periodically. And I don't have any answers to that other than they're still working on their acquisition and completing the due diligence.
Can I ask you one question?
Yes.
Is there an exact location that they've determined, or are they exploring options?
At one time, I would have told you I knew it, and I don't. I thought I did, and I think there's other things they're considering.
But that's what I'm saying, because a lot of people say, and I asked me, and I say, I don't know, but they are exploring options.
They're exploring options.
Okay, that's good.
And my understanding is there's a business need to be very tight to that interchange, exit 27. And other than that, I really do not know.
Okay.
City personnel in utilities department primarily have been working with some engineers and talking about system upgrades as required, what it's going to be. So they've been answering those questions for a while, and they didn't know what it was for until we Calvert City approved the industrial revenue bond, and we kind of came out there. So then they say, that's what that was about. So anyway, so the news is there's no news, but my understanding is it's still moving forward. That's all I have, unless someone has a specific question about maybe. Okay, we got plenty of new business tonight too. So, ad valorem tax on real estate and personal property subject to taxation in the city of Calvert City. You're gonna headline that?
I am. So it's that time of year again. So I received all of our information from Tony Henson, the PVA. And I always do the spreadsheet. Ralph always did this spreadsheet, which I've continued. I really like it. So we can see that our real estate for 2024, you can see the number there, and the personal property, that number comes from these down here at the bottom that we do tax, which it's tools and fixtures, merchant's inventory, manufactured finished goods, and on down the line. And then this is the worksheet that I have to do with the DLG. And anyway, it calculates a compensating rate, which that compensating rate would give us tax revenue equivalent to last year, excluding the new real estate. And so the calculation for this year, because we have had an increase, went down just a little bit. So last year it was 0.244. This year it's calculating at 0.238. So that would be the rate we would need to go with unless we want to have a public hearing.
So we are lowering taxes.
Lowering taxes. I'll always love to hear
No.
that.
You're not lowering taxes.
Well, I knew that. I knew that was coming.
Right,
I knew that was coming. We're
not
lowering.
raising
You actually lowered taxes last
We're
year.
not raising.
Because if you look at the spread, it was 0.248 and you went down to 0.244. Actually, more than that. You've continually went down.
Give us a headline.
It's
We'll
2020.
see a headline in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
The property tax value in Marshall County the past 20 years
has more than doubled. And in the past 2 years, it's increased by almost $500 million.
Is that unique to Marshall or just the world we
Try to
live
find
in?
that out.
Well,
It's taxable.
yeah.
So yes, I've been
Based
looking at
on
the
prices
rates.
I will
today, I
be-
would not be surprised.
I will be looking forward to that data.
So
Okay.
Does anyone have any questions? I mean, I know it's the same thing we do every year.
The numbers that you're talking about are reflected in this.
They do.
One
So,
comment,
a comment?
the personal property line, the second of the two,
Right.
it's where all the increase is.
It is. Yeah, there was just a small increase in real
And I would think
estate.
that you wouldn't necessarily expect that level in the future. If you look back at just what's showing there, it's way higher than it.
My out like tools and fixtures are, almost doubled.
Yeah.
Yeah, manufactured finished goods. So that's where our increase is this year.
I mean, real estate, you would think would be pretty static. It'll increase a little, but that really jumped 50%.
That is a lot.
Do we know? Can we point to anything to that big jump? Just
That what?
well, is there anything that we can point to that big jump in the personal?
It's almost
I don't think
double.
we get any of that kind of data, do we?
Do we what?
Get any of that kind of data to know any details about why that is?
I
A
can
person.
ask Tony. Sometimes I do ask him, or sometimes he just volunteers that when he sends me the information, but he did not this year. So it must not have been anything that really, maybe it was just kind of
I would
some
just-
overall.
I would just sort of like to know because it's almost doubled. So
Well,
from
And I can
74
ask.
to 131, right? So we're looking.
When I was looking at the 211
Okay.
million in 23 to the
Yeah, going to the
303 million.
303.
Okay, I was looking down at tools and fixtures. On
Yes,
this.
Oh,
yes,
well,
absolutely.
yeah,
I just
that's
got through
part
putting
of
an
it.
asterisk by that one. So yeah,
Yep.
that doubled.
And I have in the
The
past.
other one went up by 50%.
Sometimes these increase and then he'll send me an exoneration and say, oh, we messed up. And I'm like,
Right.
don't do
That's
that to me.
potential. Yeah.
Well, if you look down at the bottom, tools and fixtures went up almost 50%,
Right.
That's what needed.
Yep.
or almost double it.
Double
Yeah.
it.
So yeah,
100%.
that's a big one.
I don't know what that number is. I
So
don't.
does manufactured finished goods.
I'd love to know.
Yeah, sort of.
That's what,
Goods and public storage went down.
Yep. We need 2 or 3 more documented boats to move in. Wow.
Not even going there.
document.
You can-
No, I mean the documented boats. I mean $33,000.
Yeah.
There's a meaning to that word, documented boats, and
I know
why
it
is
is.
it attached to the community? So we'll see.
Okay, so can we go ahead and do the first reading of the ordinance?
Oh,
And then
sure. I would
will
just
ask
like to
Tony.
know.
Yeah, because I need to get it done so that I can get the tax bills out.
If, can I ask you this, if he actually had made a mistake on that figure or something, if he had it, is that gonna, would that gonna change it?
It definitely will change our tax revenue. It will not change.
So,
If I've already set the rate, it will not change it.
so the question is,
That's a good
that
question.
we've got personal properties increased by 50%, and then one of the subcategories there is doubled, and we don't know why. So the question is, if something pops up and this is incorrect, we pass this ordinance, the tax rate would be 0.238. Based on the data we had, the conference center rate, when we pass it, it'll be 0.238, regardless of what those mistakes. But we just really have questions. We have no idea that it's a mistake at all. We just
Right, you're right. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, what if? And that's what, I didn't know if you could come back
And
like we can make an amendment to the budget or something. I didn't know if you could change this or not. My only thing would be if it was any lower, I would hate that it.
correct. Like
I
I
don't
said,
know.
let's go ahead and do the first reading if that's okay.
Yeah,
I will
Yeah.
find out the information and I can fill him out on what he thinks, if he thinks, because he will tell me.
Yeah,
If
I
he
mean,
thinks-
it's just-
if he
it's-
feels really good about, no, these numbers are good,
so it's the first reading.
But I will say that we budgeted 1.3 million and the estimated revenue at 0.238 is 1.546. So it's gonna have to be a big something to go under our budgeted number.
Okay,
It
okay,
would
I'm
have
good,
to be
I'm
a
good,
large-
I'm good.
Good,
Okay,
Want to read it?
Okay,
we gotta read it.
Okay,
thank you,
let's
Greg.
skip the preamble. Now therefore be it ordained by the city of Calvert City, Commonwealth of Kentucky as follows, and ad valorem tax of $0.238 on each $100 of real property value subject to taxation for general purposes in the city of Calvert City be and the same hereby is levied for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024 and ending June 30, 2025 on the assessment as of January 1, 2024 on real property located within the corporate limits of the city. An ad valorem tax of $0.25 on each $100 of motor vehicle and watercraft property value subject to taxation for general purposes in the city of Calvert City be and the same hereby is levied for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024 and ending June 30, 2025 on the assessment as of January 1, 2024 on motor vehicle and watercraft property located within the corporate limits of the city. An ad valorem tax of $0.238 on each $100 of commercial tangible property value subject to taxation by the Commonwealth of Kentucky and otherwise reported on the Commonwealth's tangible personal property tax return and located within the city of Calvert City be and the same hereby is levied for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024 and ending on June 30, 2025 on the reported property values as of January 1, 2024. All of said ad valorem taxes should be used to defray the operation and maintenance expenses of the city government and its subdivisions through which it provides governmental services, and this be placed in the general fund. Also, pursuant to KRS 136.120, there hereby is levied a property tax on operating property value and non-operating tangible property value of all public service corporation property as defined in KRS 136.120 in the city of Calvert City, and the same rate as the tangible property of other taxpayers not performing public services as set forth above, subject to a limitation of such rate as applied to the property of railroads and railway companies pursuant to KRS 136.180 sub 3. All public service corporation property taxes are to be placed in the general fund of the city and used to defray the operation and maintenance expenses of the city government and subdivisions through which it provides governmental services. Section 2, all taxes shall be due and payable on February 1, 2025, and all taxes not paid by March 1, 2025 shall be deemed delinquent, and there shall be added thereto a penalty of 6%. City council may collect the delinquent taxes by all legal means, including but not limited to the procedure authorized by the provisions of KRS 91.484 to 91.527, see KRS 92.810. Partial payments of taxes, penalties, and interest shall not be credited to the taxpayer's account, but may, in the discretion of the city clerk treasurer, be placed in a non-interest bearing account and held as security for such unpaid taxes, penalties, and interest. Should the city clerk treasurer so elect, a taxpayer's taxes, penalties, and interest may be paid from escrow funds at such time as the taxpayer's escrow funds are sufficient to pay all taxes, penalties, and interest in full. Section 3, pursuant to KRS 132.285, the city hereby elects to use the annual county assessment prepared by the Marshall County Property Valuation Administrator as of January 1, 2024. The city shall appropriate and pay to the Office of the Marshall County Property Valuation Administrator for deputy and other authorized personnel allowance, supplies, maps, and equipment, and other authorized expenses of the office, $0.005 for each $100 of assessment, provided that such sum paid shall not be less than $250 or more than $40,000. The payment of such sum to the Marshall County Property Valuation Administrator shall be based upon filing a satisfactory claim for such sum by the administrator. Section 4, all previous ordinances enacted by the City Council of Calvert City in conflict herewith are repealed to the extent of such conflict. And that is the first reading.
Do you need a motion or?
How you feel about that? We're good with the .238? Need a motion in a second?
I make a motion. I'll second.
You're gonna do roll call?
Mhm.
We'll do
Oh,
roll
sorry.
That is to accept the first reading, right?
Right,
Yes.
first reading, yes. Councilman Babcock,
Yes.
Councilman Howard,
Yes.
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Councilman Ralph,
Yes.
Councilman Harrington,
Yes.
Councilman Stokes.
Yes.
Okay, it passes for the first reading.
Is that on real and tangible, real and personal?
Real and, yes,
And
it's, I'm sorry, I didn't say that, .238 for both.
What on, automobiles and watercraft?
.25. That was set, I don't know when that was set. That's not something that we redo. Remember you and I researched that.
Been that for a long time.
Yep.
Many years.
All right, well, thank you for that, and you're gonna make a phone call or two and make sure everything's fine?
I will.
Okay.
Mhm.
And if something's not fine?
Right. We'll take care of it
We'll
in
take
our
care
next
of it.
meeting.
Okay.
Just be nice to know.
It is good to know.
Yeah.
Like I
Okay.
said, a lot of times he will just include stuff when he sends me numbers, but he didn't this time. So he must feel pretty good about them.
Okay, the next one is an ordinance amending personnel and pay classification plan. And in the midst of adding folks to the utilities department, it came to our awareness that we did not have an apprentice, right? Is that the title we're calling it?
In training.
Operator in training. So our pay class that we passed was all for fully certified folks in various flavors. So this is one, we've got 2 people that we've got employed and we've got their pay rate set, and it's going to go up and match the one that we've already passed. But right now, they're below that. So we're just going to clarify what has basically been current practice and get it above board, if you will. All right.
Okay, whereas KRS 830702 and Calvert City Ordinance 3102 B and C, or Section 3102 B and C, require the city council to adopt a personnel pay classification plan fixing the compensation of city employees and non-elected city officers. And whereas the mayor has requested that the city council has determined it to be in the best interest of the city to hire a water and wastewater operator in training and to establish a compensation schedule for such position, now therefore be ordained by the city of Calvert City, Commonwealth of Kentucky, that the personnel and pay classification plan for the city of Calvert City for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2024 and ending on June 30, 2025 is amended as follows. The only amendment is the addition of the employee classification of water and wastewater operator in training, and the annual compensation is established at $20.50 an hour. And no other provisions of the ordinance amended are affected other than the following addition. So that's it.
Any questions or conversations? No? Okay.
Just need a motion.
Need a motion and a
I'll
second?
make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
You gonna do a roll call on that one?
Councilman Stokes,
Yes.
Councilman Harrington,
Yes.
Councilman Rao,
Yes.
Councilman Hale,
Yes.
Councilman Howard,
Yes.
Councilman Babcock.
Yes.
Okay, that passes for the first reading.
Okay. New business, we got 2 resolutions to consider. The first one is adopting a health reimbursement plan. And I'm going to turn this one over to Glenda to explain.
Okay. We actually started the HRA plan on July 1. All of our employees are required to have an HSA, a health savings account. The city provides that for them with their medical plan. So we all have everyone has an HSA. As the workforce is aging, and if they begin to take their Social Security while they are working, along with your Social Security, it is mandatory to take Part A of Medicare. It comes together. You cannot divide the 2. So when you do that, you no longer can have an HSA. IRS says you cannot have an HSA. So since that is a big part of our package, our employee package for our employees, our benefit package, we started the HRA. And we have to pass this resolution.
One other thing she hasn't mentioned, if an individual is drawing medical benefits from the military, VA, whatever, they also do not qualify for an HSA, and so they would be eligible for an HRA. So this not only takes care of seniors, but it also takes care of veterans or personnel that would be on those benefits as well.
And given the challenges of staying staffed and the contribution of all the personnel that we can get, especially experienced ones, we want people to be made whole. So what this basically does, it takes the same package that we have for folks who qualify for HSA and HRAs and passes along to an HSA. Okay. So the numbers in the plan have all mapped over to be directly equivalent to the benefits that you'd have had you not gone through that milestone.
So basically, the employee's gonna have to pay it reimbursed, and then this HRA reimburses them, as before you had the savings and they had like a card or something that
But we
they
get-
used.
We have
Yes,
a
yes, but
card.
you got them backwards. The health reimbursement account, this is a health savings account that we're putting in.
No, we're doing that.
It was
HRA.
we raised that.
Oh, you're right, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I've got it backwards. Yeah, okay.
Actually, they both have cards.
But I meant the idea, but
Yes. The difference in an HSA in my mind is much better than an HRA.
Right.
An HSA, when you put that money in their account, it's theirs. It goes with them. If they're not working here anymore, it's still their money.
That is a top,
Okay,
that is
it
a
is.
top drawer benefit.
It is like one of the best things we could do.
We have that for the employees now.
HSA
So when we
is awesome.
contribute to HSA, an employee leaves our employment, that HSA stays with them.
Correct.
An HRA would not.
The
even
HRA,
though the city has put the money in,
Yes.
That's correct.
yeah, it's
This
part of
was-
their
It's-
benefit
it's- when we're
package.
back, and I don't remember what year that we
Oh,
changed
it's-
that.
Use it or lose it.
Way back.
ours is,
No,
ours
No,
is
it's
used it or
not.
lose it.
HSA
Ours
is
rolls.
not.
HRA is,
HRA is the city's money and it remains the city's money. And the employee either uses it or they don't have it.
But it's just an option to get around something that we can't.
But
control
there's
anyway.
no
it's a
other,
high deductible
Yeah.
plan that
Yeah.
we've got, yes.
Trying our best to equalize.
Yeah.
you have, we've had one in the past.
But now
Because-
wonder whether we need a resolution.
Well,
This
that's
company,
what
the
we-
company
the
we've
company
went
requires
with
it.
for this, to administer this, is requiring this.
So
It's an option to get around something that.
So what we did,
But
we established this approach, the HRA, I'm sorry about saying that.
Yeah.
But
No, I just
it
wanted to-
is a reimbursement account. We had to do it and it was seen as equivalent. And that's within the benefits. It's within the, what we said as wages, what we said in the budget. So it's all compliant. But when you establish a plan, especially the first time, that the carrier of the HR who is requiring us to go through this process to get
this.
it all.
I guess what I'm getting at is where it says reimbursement,
Mm-hmm.
that I was asking if the city employees had to pay up front and then be reimbursed. Or
There's
do-
actually-
or do they have access to this money to use?
Yes, they can pull it out of their HSA.
We have
Well,
there is a card.
She's asking a different question.
I will say personally, I have the HRA now. I do not like it anything like the HSA, okay? But it's okay. And what I've been doing is paying my medical things. I do have the card, but sometimes then I have to send in, with the HSA, you don't have to do anything.
Okay,
You need to keep your receipts in case you're audited by the IRS. But with this HRA, I have to make copies of anything that I've spent and send to them. So yes, you are right. This one's much different. An HRA is much different than an HSA.
The other thing I'm asking are, in doing this, I know that we're trying to help with the veterans and with the aging population, which I am chief,
Which,
but are we lessening their benefits? She's saying she doesn't like it as well. Are we?
No.
Dollar amount is the same.
Same, okay.
Procedurally.
yes, the dollar
procedurally,
amount, it's just,
Okay. I-
She doesn't have the option.
They're ineligible for the
HSA anymore, right?
Huh?
You don't have the option to have it.
I don't have an
HSA.
option now.
Yeah,
You
she
don't
can't
have
have
an
an HSA. She can't have any more contributions to her HSA. She
Right.
still has her HSA. It didn't go
I
away.
was talking about all of them.
No.
But,
nothing-
you
nothing's
know-
going
No,
on.
no.
So I'm
Same-
good. I'm good.
Same amount, yeah.
That's just
But
an
as
option.
our employees are getting a little
So,
older,
If
I mean,
you go
you're
on
seeing
Social
that
Security, You're
everywhere.
gonna get an HRA here.
You're seeing it.
As long as you're not on Social Security or taking VA benefits, you should still be able to get the HSA. I may be missing
As long as
something.
No,
you're-
I just
You're
I
want
think those are the two exceptions.
That's correct.
This gets us into compliance.
I'm good with
That's
it.
all I got to say about that. But, and we did it just straight up, same dollar amount, same out of pocket, made equivalent dollar amount to benefits. It's not equivalent procedurally, but as far as dollars amount, it was set up to be just that. And so when we went to finalize the plan, they said, hey, we got to have a city council action on that. And that's what this
Right.
is. You give me a passing grade on explaining that?
You did that real
So
well.
you just need a motion to pass this resolution, right?
Yes.
That's correct.
I
And
make
then
a
just a vote. We don't have to do a roll call.
I'll make a second.
Got it first. Who did first?
Need it.
Thank you.
They need to vote on
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Now,
Everybody
thank
wants
you.
to have the employees have everything they need. That's good.
Okay,
Okay, we got
now we have another one.
another resolution, and it's not on the agenda.
And I'm gonna let John take this one.
John, you gonna handle this one?
We're applying for a Delta Regional Authority grant to help fund or take care of the wastewater, not wastewater, but the water treatment plant, to put the protective berm around it or flood wall around it. We're applying through Delta Regional Authority for the full amount, $1,101,800. So, to get that, we have to have a resolution. It has to be, again, just like the HRA, they want this resolution for that. So
So
that's where we are.
the grants for the full amount, we're recipients.
The estimate is, that's the estimate from the engineers. And so therefore, that's what we're applying
What
for.
was the dollar amount?
I believe it was $1,101,800.
Anybody got any questions about what this berm's about? Okay, so we had it in the budget.
You want a motion to adopt the resolution?
Yeah, need a motion, a second, and a vote.
I make the motion.
Got a motion. How about a second?
Second.
And a vote. All in favor?
Uh,
Opposed? Okay, I need to step it up.
I thought you were going to break into your.
Yeah,
auctioneer.
Well, no, I did not talk, I don't talk fast enough. I talk fast enough, just not in control enough. So, there you go. Okay.
I think the council's ahead of us.
Go ahead.
I said the council's ahead of us.
They are, they get it going now.
They're with
Get
it.
it
Well,
going.
I figured I'd ask enough questions and stall enough here that I needed to.
We all knew that.
No, that's good.
I want to keep Kevin in my
Well,
good
this-
graces.
Okay, so we got done with that part of the business. I got a couple of items to talk to you guys about. I have had a request, and I do plan to declare Saturday, September 14th, 2024, the North Marshall High School Class of 1974 Day. It's in recognition of their 50th anniversary reunion of the class. They're going to have the anniversary or the reunion at the Civic Center, and it's been pointed out to me that was the last North Marshall High School class to graduate, 1974, 50 years. Congratulations. So I will get with somebody.
Dwayne Stiles point that out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Was it? Never mind. Yes. I'm reading an email from said Dwayne Stiles. And he reminded me the last time he saw me. And I think it's a worthwhile
great.
milestone.
What day
Worthwhile
is
milestone.
that?
Do what?
September 3rd.
Saturday.
14th.
September
Oh.
14th.
The 14th is a
This-
Saturday. Is that-
This Saturday.
This
Okay.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to do that. Another thing I want to make you guys aware of and bounce it off you, make sure it's good. Our plants at Calvert City, we often have the need in the chemical business, and there's some sustainability guidelines from corporate headquarters. Okay. We used to, the plants, I'll speak for them collectively, we used to recycle with Marshall County, what's the proper title of that board?
Refuge.
Refuse
Yeah.
board. And since COVID, they didn't have the manpower, and we haven't been doing the milk runs of picking up corrugated materials. As you know, we have various recycle containers around the city, and we do not want to pick anything up we don't have a home for. Okay. So somebody's going to take the time to come and bring it to us and put it in a bin. We're going to make sure we got a recycling stream to take it to. So for somebody to go through extra effort and go into one of our bins that wind up in dump anyway, that's something that I want to avoid at all costs. But the Calvert City plants, because of where they're at, because we generate stuff, I want to take one of our containers, and there's 3 of them unused right now over at the Public Works, and Estron Chemical, which is my daytime employer. We're going to park it out there next to the old concrete plant, is not inside our fence. And it's got a security gate. We keep trailers and stuff in there. So I want to take one of these containers, put it in there, and we'll open the gate during the daylight hours, and we'll talk to the rest of the plants. Bring us your corrugated. I only want the corrugated. I don't want the plastic bags. We don't want the trash. We don't want people giving us gifts in the middle of the night. But we do close the gate. There's not a perimeter fence on it. We'll close the gate and see. The way you get your recycle streams established, you got to see, okay, what have we got here? What can be recycled? So Marshall County does have a viable pathway to getting paper in. Initially, we're going to pay for dumping it at Benton, and I don't know how we're going to divvy it up. I don't know how many other plants are going to be. We've talked about it, but basically you got to set foot. And my boss, the owner of Vestron, says, hey, put it out here. I will take the chance. And we got all the list of problems it's going to be, but we'll see what we wind up so many pounds. I wanted to make sure everybody's aware of that and that we can,
So you're not stealing our bin.
we're not stealing the bin.
It is for public use.
It is for public use, and we have the trailer for it. You got to crank it on the trailer, and you got to drive it to Benton. We'll figure out what that cost is. We'll figure out how it's going to be defrayed amongst the users. And I think at Estron will be writing a check by ourselves for a little bit until we get some more users. And if it doesn't pick up, it goes away. That's just the way it goes. Okay, and we'll make you aware of that.
What are the hours it'll be open?
It'll be open probably from 7:30 to 3:30. We'll have to figure all that out. But during the week, 7:30 to 3:30. Another problem that our plants have is we have a lot of protocols and security about who can come in and come out. So when you have a work crew, and we had some inmate help coming in, and that posed a problem. Who's going to sign? Where are they going at in this facility and stuff? So it's also a problem. If you got it, and Dan can attest to this. This is Dan's business. His number 2 guy is one that I've talked a lot to about how we establish this thing. So they've actually got to move the material to that site. So it's a toss up whether it's going to be very good or not. But I'm volunteering. And if some other plant says, "Hey, I've got a great location for that," we'll see how it works. But we're gonna just try to get something rolling. And there you have that. So
I mean, just to add on to that, I managed that sustainability program for a previous employer, and it was quite a significant amount of material before it got cut off by the county.
Yeah.
So that's a great thing to get back going.
So there's, to talk a little bit about this, if you're a plant and you're making stuff, your raw material comes in a certain kind of package. I've got a package which is impossible. We have a paper sack. It's got a polyethylene liner, and it's got a contaminant, not a contaminant, but it's got residual raw material in it that is basically sandpaper. So nobody wants that. And I got piles of it. I want to find a home for it. I want something to do with it, but it's not straightforward. And every plant's got examples just like that. And so we're looking at pretty much, anything plain old corrugated. It can't be paperboard. It's got to be the corrugated paper. And so we'll see what we wind up with.
They want it clean, usually.
Yeah.
They don't want it with oil all over it or anything like that.
We don't want the old pizza boxes, cheese in it.
You will get some of that.
I know. We don't want any of that. But we'll see how it works out. And it's a pilot. I mean, I don't know what else to call it. I mean, it'd be a pilot. First time I use that word, but we'll see what happens. All right. Moving on. You ready for a marketing director report? Freshly off the road. Back in Calvert City for a few days after an extensive travel itinerary.
Oh, yes.
Welcome back.
Thanks. It was great. Absolutely great. Not long enough. So, the hot air balloon. A couple of things. Apparently, there's a hurricane named Francis headed our way. It's fantastic.
We can pray her.
Is it there's not a hurricane yet, is it? Is it even named yet?
I think it's named
Francis is the next one in the pile.
Oh.
It hasn't. I don't know. I hadn't seen the evening news. Did it get named as a storm?
Yeah, it's a named tropical storm right now, expected to be named a
Well,
Cat 1 hurricane.
Well,
this evening.
we don't want to wish it on anybody, but we don't want to.
I was gonna look it up and
I
see.
wish it was in South Carolina, but that's okay.
Hurricane warnings in
After
effect for
Saturday's
Francis.
football game. All right, so with the balloon glow, we have a very large amount of interest in this event.
Oh yeah.
Not only our personal Calvert City page has around 8,000 people that says that they're interested in it. We have a fake event page that someone has created out there that many of you are saying you're going on.
Oh,
So check your event page.
It's a weird looking, like different, it doesn't, it's like a glow.
Yeah.
Sort of blue. Okay.
Yes.
Is it sell, that one's selling tickets though for $20 a head, right?
Please don't tell me that.
I said something.
Lightheaded.
I started it, so I hope so.
You didn't give him a credit card number, did you? You didn't put any digits?
Show his
Okay.
cash app.
So how do we make sure they're on the real Calvert City page, Blair?
Just make sure and go to your Calvert City
I mean, she could do
Facebook
it.
page. Under the events, it's there.
Okay.
On that page that's fake, there's around 20,000 people that are interested in it. So we're at a total of 28,000 people that are interested, just people on social media, not people like Garrett who don't have social media. And Tony Egbert, he doesn't have social media either. So
Is he coming? You think Tony's interested?
Oh yes,
Okay.
he's going. Yes. So
Good for Tony.
we are in full prep, and everyone is aware that this is going to be, if the weather cooperates, a very good turnout. I've had people call from Crossville, Tennessee, Clarksville, Tennessee. There's a group in Crossville that is bringing a charter bus, and they rented all the rest of the hotels at the Quality Inn, their rooms, so they're full. So it's going to be a big deal. If you are available to help Friday, Saturday night, I would greatly appreciate it. 5 to 8. We could definitely use your help. The overall event Friday night is 5 to 8. And basically what happens is there's a tether, $20. You can come tether if you'd like, go up 75 to 100 feet. And it's $20 to participate.
Do we pay for that there or?
Pay for it there. Yeah, there's no pre-registration. It's a first come, first serve, and it is a hard 5 to 8. So if you're in line and it's 8 o'clock, you're just going to come back tomorrow. It's just how it is. So that is from 5 to 8. The balloon glow will start at dark from 7 to 8 p.m. So it'll be that hour long. It does the exact same thing Saturday night. Same thing. So 5 to 8, Friday and Saturday night. During the day, in the morning, 6 a.m., bright and early, you can watch them fly.
I've been eliminated from that.
Yeah. I will be there, but not just super happy about it.
6 to 8 a.m. 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 is in daylight.
A.m., yes.
Shoot. It's dark
we
at
have
6,
very
Blair.
limited, what's that?
It's dark at 6, right?
It is.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Apparently, that's the best time to fly.
All right.
Be blowing.
The winds.
Yeah.
I'll have to take your word for it.
So they're going to meet at the pavilion back here at 5:45 a.m. and we have a very limited number of people that can fly with. Me and Bobby and Tim are going to do it. So that's exciting.
We were gonna be gone. If I wasn't gone, I'd fly on.
Yeah. So they're going to meet there, and then they'll fly. What happens is they start here, they have their meeting, and then they say go, and then everybody goes out. All the balloons go out and find their place to launch. So wherever they launch, then they raise. They're having a competitive flight back to Doctors Park, this field back here. So they will race to that spot. They will have a bean bag to drop out of their balloon, and whoever gets close on the target wins. So I will ask if you're in town on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. We're going to have a breakfast, award breakfast brunch at Kentucky Dam Village.
Oh, I put that in my calendar for Sunday, so it's actually Saturday.
Did I say Saturday? Sunday.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yes. Sunday at 10 o'clock. If you're available, you're welcome to come and have breakfast. Let me know if you are coming so that I can make sure they have a total.
Okay, so the Friday night event's at Memorial Park.
Yes.
How many food trucks you got?
I have 10, 11.
All right.
Mhm.
And the little boy with fishes. No.
Yes. So we have 10, I think it's 10 or 11 food trucks. And then I have 8 arts and craft vendors that are just very particular different types of art and crafts.
Okay.
And then we have 6 carnival games. Different businesses, Custom Automotive, State Farm, 50s Cafe, the library, the elementary school. They've all partnered together, and they're going to offer these carnival games. So you can come and play like the nostalgic, vintage carnival games. and that will be there too, or 5 to 8. And that's really it for the Blue and Glow. If it rains
That's all,
Wednesday
that's all,
morning-
that's all, that's all.
Listen,
It seems like it's taking a life of its
Here
own,
we
so, all right, here we go.
so 5, where was I just going?
If it rains.
If it rains, Wednesday morning, thank you, Lord. Wednesday morning, we will have a phone call with the balloon company. And it's not just about rain or, well, not just that. It's about like energy in the air.
Oh,
Didn't know that existed, but it does.
Yeah.
I can't say that word, pressure.
Right.
All of that is in effect.
So that's a conference call Wednesday.
So Wednesday morning, 8 o'clock, we're going to talk on the phone and kind of see where we're at with the weather. We should know more by then. I'll be on the radio at 9, so I'm hoping to have some concrete information, and I'll share all of that with you all as well. Also tomorrow, just look at your emails. I'll send you a map that has all of the information on it. Pathway has agreed to let us use their parking lot for overflow parking, and they're also going to provide a shuttle. So we will have a shuttle that runs from Pathway, Calvert Elementary School, and Old Park. So you can park at any of those 3 spots and somebody will pick you up. Other places, the Country Club, the Methodist Church, the Presbyterian Church, they've all agreed to let us use their parking lot. So I've got a map that has all the places where you can park, how far it is from from Memorial Park, how long it is to walk, and then also as far as shuttle, it should be about 20 minutes for every shuttle, and it's going to run from 4 to 9 p.m. So plenty of time to get there and get in there. I think that's it for that. We will see how it goes.
That'd be great.
So let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Wednesday morning, is this if we don't do it, does that mean we're done? Or do we reschedule, or we don't know?
There's just no way to reschedule. I have something every weekend in October.
We'll just
Sure,
have
we don't
everybody
have
fired up for
balloon
next
blow
year.
every weekend.
The reason why it's Wednesday too is because we have a balloon pilot who's coming from Orlando, and he's going to be leaving Wednesday morning.
Okay.
So in order for us to make a decision before all of these people come, which we pay for their transportation, we want to make the decision before they start.
How many balloons?
Yeah.
10.
10.
There'll be 8 at the Balloon Glow, and there'll be 10 that are flying in the mornings. Okay.
So
we should do.
is there anything we
tired
can
of that. Let's
do away with in October? If you could reschedule?
There's no way. I mean, as far as balloons, there's October's a
I figured they probably already were
Yeah.
booked anyway.
literally like this
Yeah.
September date was the only
Okay.
September date I could
Okay.
get.
Okay.
Yeah.
If nobody's ever been to one of these, they are really cool.
I've seen a few, but they're, yeah.
Yeah.
So where, if the prediction is for rain, then the Wednesday morning will be off. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean,
Not just that.
and you know what? It probably won't rain at all, but
Well, they gotta make a decision on
I was
Wednesday
just saying, they
logistics.
make the
Even-
decision.
it's
We'll
not
make the
just
best
for
call we
rain.
can with what we got.
I'm not a balloon expert, but I've been to 3 of these. And the first ones I went to, they put up a little, like a helium balloon, staked it on the ground. And if that balloon got past a certain angle of degree, when the wind was blowing, it was a no-go.
it's very.
You know, it's they, even if you have perfect weather and you got just a little bit more wind than what you need, they won't fly.
It's very,
I love
very
this stuff.
particular. Now the Balloon Glow, they are stationary. If worse comes to worse, it's something and the weather looks okay, we could, maybe they won't fly during the day and we could do a Balloon Glow at night if the weather looks good, and then there wouldn't be a tether. There wouldn't be a tether option. But at least you would get to see
See
it.
them.
You go to the arts and crafts and whatnot. But like I said, we'll see what he says. I don't know anything about hot air balloons, and Bob has been flying for longer than I've been alive. So
It's
Trust
a
his
balloon
opinion
in the
and-
air carrying humans.
yeah, and he's very excited about it. He was just super impressed with Calvert. So fingers crossed, everything goes good for that. But I'm just gonna run through what's going on in the next couple of weeks because we've got a lot. Not only do we have the Balloon Glow happening Crescent Coke football ball tournament is on Saturday, this coming Saturday. On the September 16th, we have the Calvert Cares Suicide Awareness Walk. Kata's putting that on, and that will be in Memorial Park, and doing a walk for that. Timmy has a power tour with Rosenbauer Fire Department or fire trucks. Come check out their new products. That is on the 19th. We're doing a ballroom dancing class, 17th and the 19th, September 17th and the 19th. And Terry, Bobby Faust's daughter, is doing that class. It's free to participate, and everybody is welcome. Don't even have to have a dance partner. If you don't have to have a dance partner. September 20th is the golf cart scavenger hunt. September 21st is the fall cleanup day. That is from 8 until noon. And just like all the other ones, same thing we pick up. Lots of businesses helping with that. So we thank them for that. And then we have the September 22nd through the 28th of Glow Conference. If you're available to help with registration, I'd greatly help with, appreciate that. It's the Association of Great Lakes Outdoor Riders. So there's 150 podcasters and YouTubers and writers and magazine
This
editors
is like the
coming here.
third one of those?
What's that?
How many of those we had them here?
This will be the second.
Second, okay.
They were here 11 years ago.
I remember them. They were a cool bunch.
Yeah.
They had a good time.
Yeah. We've got them fishing. The Tennessee Riverline's coming down to do a program. The spouses are doing a tour of the city and going to pour candles, and it's going to be an awesome couple of days. That's at Kentucky Dam Village. They're having a fishing tournament. Lots of fun stuff. And then, which is also the same time as KLC, so I will not be there for that. But I know most of you guys will be gone for that. So obviously Food Truck Fridays go through September. Then we go into October. We've got the River Folk Fest on the 4th and the 5th. Again, Jackson Purchase, they are providing the music for that. We've got Grass Wolves and some other really good musicians playing. And then October 5th is the Kentucky Dam Paddle Up. October 12th is the Carol Caps Pink Walk. October 19th through the 20th is the Good Woo Healing Arts Festival. And then October 31st is the Calvert City Treat Trail. So if you have a business or if you want to be added to the trail, please let me know and I will get you added. That's it. You may have questions. There will be a test.
I hear you're out of breath announcing. It makes me out of breath listening to it.
I deleted the false.
Done.
I think the balloon glow is, even if it doesn't happen this year, it is a major step up. No question about it.
I love small town.
It's definitely more of a regional.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes. To get you to the top of this.
John, you ready?
I am.
John is ready for a projects report. And I had to resist the urge of going into the new bathroom structure, but I was setting the good example and did not go.
I did.
Yeah, well, I was by there on Sunday and I didn't do
All
it.
right. The Land Water Conservation Fund application that we put in, they found out normally it has not taken as long as it previously has, or as it's going to this time. Apparently the process now has been moved out to approximately 18 months to 2 years. So the multi-use trail expansion, that particular monies will not be here if we do get the grant until probably late 25, early 26. However, it's still active and still moving forward. We also, as you know, we've applying for the Delta Regional Authority, and we just went through that. The bathroom project is going very well at this point in time. I mean, they've got all but just 1 or 2 sheets on the roof. They had plumbers in today as well. They've got, I met with JD Angle at Travis Construction this afternoon, and we did some some more work on location of HVAC units, some more color and some last minute checks on the type of materials to be utilized to finish it out. So if you look at the front of the building, you'll see it looks like it's smooth on the front, and then the back side is rough, and that's meant for that because we're putting a composite board on there as part of the style of the building. And that's the reason it looks different. So, but it's moving along well at this time. Right now, HDR is working on the pickleball court plans. We've got that moving forward. They're actually working on the actual design for the berm for the flood wall at the water treatment plant. They're also developing our next 5-year paving plan. Those items are all something that they're working on currently. The front door, the only door left, we got one additional extra left door and not the right door. We didn't get the right door. So anyway, they've got it in. It's ready. It's together, and they're trying to get someone free to bring it down. It's coming out of Evansville to get it installed and get the locks fixed. And they're going to try to be down this week to get that taken care of. West 10th Avenue. Hats off to Brad and all the guys at Public Works. They did one heck of a job. If you've been down West 10th Avenue here lately, you'll see that it's a whole different animal. So right now we're waiting on the paving. HDR is working on that one as well, getting that project together to complete it. Notice of award has been given to Jim Smith Contractors for the multi-use trail, ladies and gentlemen. So we're waiting on the final paperwork to get that project moving. It's in being processed as we speak. So God willing, I'll actually see construction on it. I want to touch base quickly on some things that Bruce has been working with. Year to date, we've had 63 nuisance violations. 16 are active today. 25 have been closed, and 24 have been temporarily satisfied. That means the yards are being mowed after we got letters. That's a temporary thing. So out of 63, we only have 16 that are active. So that's doing pretty good. Permit side of that, we've handled 41 permits of various types throughout since the year began. And I'm talking calendar year on both of these, okay? 27 were zoning compliance, 5 conditional use, 2 variants, 5 excavation of the right-of-way, and 2 floodplain permits. Of those 41, I only have 1 active. It's actually 2 applications, but 1 case it's active. So that's how well things are moving along in that realm. So to tell you that everything's just peachy keen, no, we've still got a bunch of stuff that's to be dealt with. But our nuisance includes junk vehicles, weeds, structures, things of that nature. And we do work with people. We've been working with people for a while, but we've actually had to go in a couple of times and actually physically remove stuff. And it won't be the first time or last time. We've done it a couple of times. But it's getting done. So just for your information on those. And the last, and this is kind of a lead up to Tim. He's here. So for the airport, year to date, we've had 2,218 aircraft activities out at the airport, which I'm pleased to say I've seen a marked increase in helicopter activity. They're the ones that are utilizing most of our jet fuel. And since July 1st, we've sold 2,598 gallons of jet fuel for a total of 11,000. This is approximately 11,700. And then 2,526 gallons of avgas, 14,593. So since July 1, we've sold over $26,000 in jet and aviation fuel. Since the beginning of this month, we sold 436 gallons of jet, 306 gallons of avgas. So in the last 9 days, we've sold that much. That's somewhere around $3,600 worth of fuel in just 9 days. So it's really picking up and they're moving. Since July 1, over 37% of our aircraft activity has taken place since July 1 this year. So again, it's going well.
Just since we don't have a separate operator for that fuel, I assume that the city or the airport is making that profit.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We make the profit off the fuel. We make the profit off the hangars.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good.
So there's daily activity
Yeah.
by our employees down there.
And they are paying for themselves.
Awesome.
So
that was the
So
whole
we'd
goal
love
of
to turn the
airport.
whole
It was
shooting
just-
match over to a fixed based operator, of course. And that's a whole nother part of the plan. We're trying to seed the ground to make sure we can do that. So
and that's all I have unless you have questions.
I have a question. Jim Smith got the contract for the multi-use trail,
Yes, ma'am.
and what was his bid?
I don't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to get it afterwards, or Belinda will have that information.
Okay,
She can get it
Call
to
me,
them.
copy.
I'm sorry, I just don't remember. I don't keep that.
That is the trail that was approved under the last, Steve Shear administration, last year, Steve was here.
It's the same one we've been working on since 2017.
From end of Fifth Avenue to 62.
Yes, ma'am. From Fifth Avenue down to actually not quite to 62. So,
What were you talking about, going back on the grant? What were you talking about on that?
Just back here.
that's a multi-use extension. We were
Okay,
going to do
gotcha,
this.
gotcha.
it's in
okay.
the budget to
Okay.
pave the gravel.
Okay, yeah, I remember.
And
Well, we had our match was in there. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to do the whole.
I tell you that trail since we put it in, it's brought along some problems. I mean, there's some usage of that trail that's less than optimal, and it allows people to make a thoroughfare. Which, if bad behavior extends, it'll have to be dealt with, and is being dealt with now with directional stuff and things. But I believe it really opened up a lot of more activity from the back neighborhood through the park. You got to take the good with the bad, and we try to minimize the bad. But there's a lot of traffic on that. There's not too many times that I'm through there and we don't see anything. I actually like it. It's fun on a bicycle too. I mean, it ties you in, and you can get on some other lanes and stuff. And I think it's a pretty cute piece. It'd be nicer, and we can find the funds to pave it. I think it would add to it. What is that? Oh yeah. When we go down through the nuisance complaints and the enforcement of nuisance complaints, and that's the part where we as elected officials get blowback, right? I mean, we don't want to tell anybody to do what to do with their stuff, what you can or can't do with your stuff. But we have zoning, compliance, nuisance stuff, and it has to happen. Sometimes people's tastes don't match everybody else's, and it's just one of the least desirable things that we have to face. And we just have to stay the course, and it's always going to be, well, they're doing this and they're doing this, and we can say, well, we cleaned up that, and that person's asking about this one, and that's what you get into. And unfortunately, it's part of the thing. And so I find Bruce pretty talented at doing that. And there has been some blowback. Again, it's not that people just don't like what you're saying, and you can't say it in certain ways that make it any better. And that's an issue. To me, it's one of the positives of living in the city.
I've had a lot of positive comments about Bruce and the way he handles
Yeah.
things.
And I can drive around. Of course, I know the cases. I can drive around. I can note some cleanup happening and some other. It seems almost as much as you clean stuff up, you have other ones that are kind of falling off the rails around you. And they're for good reasons sometimes. People get ill, land turns over, people die, don't know what to do. And so, you can't just keep pushing that off. And so, and what John says, they're working with us. We got a lot of patience. Just work with us, show progress, and we'll get there. And I think that we show ample patience as long as you can keep it moving that direction. And there's before and after pictures which we're taking and compiling and stuff. And you know, it's a branding issues with cities because we have people who want to locate in North Marshall and they want to stay just outside the city limits. Well, what value do we add to being in the city? Well, you're going to regulate me, or you're going to do this to me, or whatever. And at the end of the day, we should be striving to make people want to be in the city. And it's tough. It is tough in Western Kentucky. You can buy 50-acre farmland, put your cul-de-sac in there, and just do whatever the heck you want, and sell the heck out of whatever you're selling, and go down the road. And nobody cares. And I'm in, I'm out. I don't, it's streamlined. I don't have a lot of other stuff. And at the end of the day, the person buying the items, whether it be houses or lots or whatever, you got to decide if that is a good investment for you or not. And if they don't perceive being in the city limits as a positive, the developers probably aren't ever going to go there with you. But anyway, that's enough of that. Where are we at on the agenda? We're ready to go around and ask if anyone has any. Mr. Haskell. Oh yeah, we got city departments today. We got utilities and everything else. So we usually leave you for last. We're going to start off with the airport.
Okay.
You should say I'm a petitioner and you can get in and out.
Well, if you'd let me go first.
I'd probably say no. You're right.
But it's okay. Whatever you want to do. This month we put together and submitted on time the capital improvement plan to the Federal Aviation Administration. That coordination was primarily with the Department of Aviation, Kentucky Department of Aviation, because they are the ones that do the capital investing. What does the plan look like? It looks exactly like the last year's submittal, but for the change in priority of an 8-unit T hangar having a higher priority than the 60 by 60 multi-use building. There appears to be more of a demand for hangar space, individual hangar space. And so we reversed that priority and put the hangar first, T hangar first. So Hanson will be preparing engineering documents for the state preparation of the site for that during 2025-26, and then make it site ready for whenever you and the state deem that there's a sufficient demand for those 8-unit T hangar, that can be discussed on the funding of that. We completed our negotiation with the state and worked out an arrangement with the state on the approach lights. It was important for us to get that in now, even though the schedule is for those lights not to be put in until April. And the reason is the FAA wants to make it part of the 2025 fiscal year. We had to get pre-applications in and the CIP in, capital improvement plan in, because that essentially is the pre-application to the FAA. It's notification that next year's entitlement money will be used partially for those approach lights. So that is on schedule. The airport layout plan is still being reviewed by the FAA. And the fence project phase 1 is still in hibernation, waiting for movement from state agencies.
You're saying wildlife and hibernation. I thought maybe we had bears, but
Well, I don't know if there would be bears or crickets.
Okay.
Crickets hibernate too, apparently.
Yeah.
So, can't even get cricket noise.
okay.
We'll see where that project goes.
Yeah, we're
Maybe
going.
We can push it along.
We're gonna have some discussions on that. So it's
And
good.
again, every once in a while, I don't express enough of the good impressions I have as to what that facility looks like compared to what the airport facility, compared to what it looked like 4 years ago. I hope you are as proud as I am as to the activity and how that has worked. State employees are beginning to feel that, but only in the aviation department. finance doesn't care, and it's becoming apparent. But the Parks Department is also impressed by what's happening.
Okay.
You've made a lot of friends. Thank you.
Well, hopefully we can get them to take a interest in putting a road to the facility that doesn't
It would be
require
nice to
dental
have a
work.
road.
It'd be very
Yes.
nice, yeah. So I'm so happy that the CIP had been sent to the FAA and has blessings from the KTCDA. I mean, that's awesome.
Say okay.
You're getting it.
And the Pappy's got a thumbs up
And the reels.
and the reels. Okay.
Thanks.
Bringing in the Pappy. And that's a hit song. Pappy and the reels. No. All right. Dan, you want to give us a utilities update? Mr. McGowan, I think, is on vacation today. Is he vacationing?
You see helicopters over my house every night and all day. I hope y'all enjoy the fuel you get from that.
Well, now the one of those helicopters is pretty darn quiet. It kind of works like an owl. It just kind of you hear it whistle as it goes by. One little blinking tail light.
As far as the project we've been working on now for a couple of 3 years, the influent lift station is now seemingly back on schedule, and hopefully we will be wrapping that up before the end of the year and stay in compliance with the agreed order that we have with the state. It's been a lot of issues going on with that, but I think we're on the right track now and got the right contractor, and everything's moving forward there. A part of that same project, though, was we had to go through and do smoke testing of the sewer lines and the lines that goes up to people's houses and so forth. And we've been using Bruce to write some letters to some homeowners that we found that had open sewer lines at their house that was letting excess water into the sewer, which is one of the things we were trying to control, the amount of influx of fresh water and all into the sewer lines to keep the overflows down when it rains hard and so forth. And so some of these letters are going to people that are asking them to repair these lines. And I don't know what the results has been yet, but I'm sure there may be some kickback on where I'm not having to repair my sewer line or whatever.
Do you know about how many letters you've sent out?
I'm thinking he told me about 20. Tim could tell me
Okay.
more to that, but he's not here tonight. So, but I know it was a number of letters, and he had Bruce work with him on it, so that because he felt like Bruce would write the letters in a nice way.
So these are problems. It's intrusions into the sewer line, and we cannot allow it.
And I think they went door to door and actually handed or tried to give these letters to the people direct as opposed to a mail to make sure that we knew who had the letters and
Yeah, you don't want to deliver it to a rental property and it not be the.
so forth. So that's going on as well. The Lone Valley Road project is still on track. We had some issues there, but I think they're pretty much been resolved. We had to do a little reroute around a piece of property from an easement standpoint and a few other things, but I think it's going to be getting where, we'll have water on Lone Valley Road and get the pressure up and everything that we've been trying to do there. Where employees are continuing to work on their licensing, and we've had another one or two pass some tests, and so they're continuing to upgrade their own self, which when they do that, they get a bump in pay as well as we get a better employee and better results in the operations. And then Gene and I are reviewing need to be reviewing applications for positions that we've got open and get that.
So we've got
process
a
going.
superintendent has been out there in the press, and we've had pretty limited reply to that. So we're going to rebrand it, put it back out for some more. We've got an internal candidate with a schedule to go. Actually had a resume come in from way out of state, and I don't want to get too many details of that. Kind of surprised. It's going to be interesting to talk to that person, to phone screen them. But people want to enter into the utility business overall in Kentucky and the state overall. It's a great field to be into, and it's got a limited number of people, and at this level that we're looking for. So that's a challenge.
It's also you're on call 24/7.
Yeah.
So, and that's one of the things people don't like anymore.
Well,
They like straight up
Mm-hmm.
40-hour week. Or whatever. So,
make a pitch for everyone who's a Calvert City utility customer to check their contact information with City Hall. Make sure that we've got a good phone number and have the right mailing address and keep those up to date. Okay. We've had some cases where something as easy as a late bill, you make a phone notification and it's done in a batch. You give the contact numbers and the late bills hit the billing cycle and it goes out in a batch, and there's not a good contact number, it goes to nowhere land. And so, other than watching your paper document, there's a notice on code red, I think is the method we're using, but I'm not exactly sure about that. But, we got to make sure. And I've had some conversations with people upset with me, say, well, everybody knows how I'm down at City Hall 4 times a week. It's like, that's not how this happens anymore. This is automated. You've got to, I'm going to come real close to mention their name and I'll regret it, but you got to update. And I've had that house phone number for years. Exactly. Make sure we have your cell number so it's in there. And so when we do that batch deal, you get a friendly reminder. Somebody won't just come out and cut you off. And, everybody needs water service, and the administration of turning services on and turning services off can be quite the ordeal. We have a lot of, people are upset when you can't pay your bills and you get your water cut off. That's a problem, and it is. And people react differently to that. And we have some city employees take some bad interaction with their public from time to time, unfortunately, and they just have to, pick it up and go on down the road and do their business. But so it would help if we had good contact information. We could avoid a few of those anyway.
the other thing we got going on too is we've got to look at the software for the billing and tracking system and all the customers and all, because our software that we're using now is outdated. And we've got to get new software in, and that's going to be
Yeah, so we've had a team have gone through and evaluated several packages with Glenda, her team, and have made a recommendation. So we're going to pile in and see how we can make that happen. It's pretty tough to make sure we follow the bid process and make the best selection. And it also impacts, is it compatible with other city operations like tax bills? So it's a pretty big deal, and they've done a great job of selecting what they think's best, and we got to get that done. We got to get that done.
because it takes time to switch over all the names and addresses.
But we don't want utilities just to be a standalone island. And so part of that evaluation for utilities is what does it do for the rest of the city, the rest of the city financial operations. So there's a lot there. Anybody got any questions for Dan? There was a big water main break. When was that, Dan? Do you remember what day it was? A couple of weeks ago.
It was kind of over the weekend.
It was a supply line break, and when they were addressing that, had to shut down one of the supply lines, and we had some water that was getting out that had a little discoloration to it. It wasn't really the red iron stuff, but it was noticeable. There was not a boil water notice attached to that, but people are used to Calvert City water being a higher quality, and it just had an upset condition and had to flush its way out of the system.
The Facebook post helped a great deal.
Yes.
Anybody who would contact me, I was able to send them that,
Right.
and that it really put them at ease.
Very good. And I think there was a code red notice on that one too for certain areas.
Okay.
Yeah. So trying to get that communication going on. So as our forces were busy dealing with the break, then they found out we had some discoloration in another location. So we got that notice out, and the waters, they tested the water and did everything we needed to do. Still inspect, but not the color we're used to seeing from people. We had it at the plant. I didn't really notice it. I was told about it and did some phone calls, and it was not very long. We had a utility code red notice on it. So that was good news. Again, no boil waters associated with that. Okay. So the only place is we got the best for last, I guess. The Chiefs. Tim, what you got going on? We're going
to. We've had a good month. We've slowed down a bunch. Thank goodness. Even our medical calls have slowed down. On the fire side, they slowed down. We did have a pretty nasty wreck yesterday at the intersection there by DQ. I think they hauled 2 out of it, but just that's going to happen. Actually, we've had a very good month.
Yeah. So we do have the burn ban. The county declared one, and I've I've gotten an education on some burn bans. So they got you don't have the ability to say, hey, I don't like you burning this week. Someone's going to tell you that. So you have to have the support from Division of Forestry, and we got it right. And also learning something new: when the county declares a burn ban, it doesn't have any bearing on the cities. You got to have the city burn ban to meet it. Is what I'm told. I'm learning all the time. So we declared one as soon as a couple of days later because the forestry department hadn't really done the things they needed to do. So we really didn't have the right under the statute to declare it. But as soon as we got it, we did it. So that's a good news. And, you had enough press going on. The whole county's got a burn ban, so nobody burns supposedly. It's just a cross the T and dot the I. And I think everybody got the message. You hadn't been called out to a fire or anything. So we had, 3 or 4 of them on the parkway. They're in very short order. And it's awful.
Well, one of the questions we got today on a phone call was, what time can you burn? I said, you can't burn at all. It's a burn ban. This is not like the state. You don't have a time like 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. like you could with the state. This is a burn ban.
So we're still in September. So the state's burn ban really hasn't taken effect yet. Normally it takes effect automatically every year. On October 15th, you got to do after daylight hours. Chief Cannon, you got some reporting to do?
Yeah, excuse me. Sorry, I was ill a few weeks ago. Still got my lungs. But so this last month, I went to the Chiefs Conference, and Calvert City Police Department was recognized for getting the Kentucky Association's Chief of Police a accreditation. We've had it for 26 years now. It's something that we try to keep up. Our certification is good for 4 years currently, and they go over about 277 different standards that they look into the police department as far as our policies, procedures, the operations, evidence, our cars, uniforms, just from top to bottom. So there's an online audit that they do, and then they do a house visit, so to speak. So we'll have a representative come in and make sure that everything is the way it is and it fulfills their standards. And so at the beginning of the year, we actually passed that, but we were recognized at the conference and actually gave us the certificate. It's hanging in the lobby of the police department right now. Another thing is in the past we mentioned about the peer support interlocal agreement with the multi-agencies. That agreement has all been pretty much finalized. We got the signatures of all the agencies that are participating in it. It's Murray State University, Murray PD, Callaway County Sheriff's Office, Benton PD, Marshall County Sheriff's Office, and the Calvert City Police Department. And what that is if a traumatic incident happens, we're going to have support for our officers in dealing with the incidents that they are involved in. So the last that I heard is Judge Sprague's office is sending that or filing it with the Department of Local Government right now.
So it's been formally signed, and
yes. So that's happened. Last week we had 2 officers in their training. Each year, officers get 40 hours of in-service training to keep their certifications. Last week we had 2. One of them was an online class, and the other one was an in-person class in Owensboro. We've got another, which I have a class coming up next week that I'll be out of town for, and then we are actively seeking applicants right now for some positions that are going to be coming available. And so that's what I have right there. And if you have any questions, I'm available.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. That's a lot. A lot of good stuff going on in the community. A lot of Calvert pride showing in the month of October. Great place to hang out. And we've got, there's going to be a mountain bike team practicing back on the Moneymaker Trail on Thursday. And we've kind of had a break in the use of it. And we talked to them. I was going to ask Brad, you're okay with the project update? You got anything to add? Brad never has anything to add unless I make him. You don't have anything to add, do you? Okay. Just turn it over to maintenance of the Moneymaker Trail and stuff. We need to get some bicycles riding on it. That's how you keep them in shape, but putting them to use. So there's going to be, I think, 30 or so running on Thursday. That's good news. Got a lot of good volunteer activity going on. Use of grant funds and stuff. What they call it, the bike bus. The bike bus was on the news here recently, and they're still doing it. I don't know. I don't know what the schedule is for this week, but
Tuesday.
I think they have some people providing some bicycles too. I mean, that's all good news. That's awesome. And that's, that's what small towns are about. That's all I've got. I think that go around and ask the council now. Rob?
A little while ago, you were talking about recycling cardboard and the use of one of those bins, and I was wondering today whether I hadn't heard anything about it lately, but are there any people that are receiving recycling now that hadn't been, so that we could start recycling some of the stuff that we did previously? Have we looked into that lately? Has that changed any of that, or?
Basically, you want to answer that, or you want me to?
Go ahead.
Well, basically, the only thing they're taking right now is cardboard, aluminum cans, like white paper and newspaper. That's all they're taking. Plastics they're not taking plastics.
Talking about bin or the refuse.
That's our stream runs from here to there, and then they take it out. But that's all they're taking right now.
So,
I mean, other places like Lexington, I mean,
you got to be able to
everything. But
it's all about supply chain.
Yeah.
And once you get it there, you got to have manpower that's going to sort it. And that's been the big issue. Now, Dan's business, they provided business for their clients, and they got the same problems. They can put a compactor somewhere, and if there's not a place for it to go, it just doesn't work out financially. You end up having to pay a lot of money to move that stuff around. It changes month to month, I believe, doesn't it, Dan? Yeah.
We've got several customers we've got compactors who use cardboard, but we don't take any plastic anymore like we did there for a while. Where we take those. We've been taking most of our cardboard either to Garrett's in Paducah or to County 109.
There's been some big national announcements for Fortune 500 companies going in and working in the recycling space, and they're having a lot of problems because a lot of times the recycling requires hands-on sorting, and the labor to do the hands-on sorting has been hard to come by. And I was looking through some files here not long ago, some pretty big expenditures on chemical equipment that will let you recycle back to starting goods. Now, I haven't got an update on those lately, but there's nothing here local that we really get to in that regard. So, Ralph, you volunteered. You got anything else?
I just wondered whether the state had ever said anything about what they plan to do at Long Valley and 62, whether that's progressed.
It's funny that you say that. We went down and talked to the state about what the plans are, and they're not totally in concrete yet, no pun intended, or asphalt, either one, but they have to get on their announcement schedule. And there's some things going on out there that are eyesores that I'm particularly dissatisfied with. not to say any names, Kentucky Fried Chicken building.
Yeah.
But it's awful. And so, what are we going to do and how we're going to resolve that stuff? Where our trail's going to land. Everything's in flux all the time.
I tried talking you into buying that. Do you remember me texting you?
What was it going to do?
Well, I was trying to get you to sell it to the state when they wanted to do that.
Oh, yeah. Well, when the state makes an announcement, if a building is involved, then they have to disclose it to their sellers. And so it's almost like the worst enemy of a good solution is the promise of a better one. And is like, I just want the stinking thing to look better instead of looking like it does. And we've been in contact with a real estate agent, and there's a singular investor. Blair knows him by name, and it's not like for lack of trying. It's just how much.
Bruce has actually had a conversation with the owner.
And he's in Alabama, right?
Further out than that.
Okay.
Wes used to mow
He
for
has
him.
the same name as a local person, and somebody thought it was that person.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
I
good.
didn't know
That's
that.
funny.
When I talked to him years ago, he was in Alabama.
As far as I'm concerned, the local person could save their name and go over there with a chainsaw and take care of it.
Owns KFC.
He's in Calvert, Alabama, so I guess
Well, they sold all.
That's as far as I'm concerned. I don't have any authority one way or the other. Yeah.
Ready for me?
Sure.
All right. We talked about the investment proposals. I was wondering if you've got any, the banks.
We've gotten some proposals back, and they're being considered.
Okay, let me
It
ask
hasn't
you
been.
this. I'm just asking it. Years ago, when we changed that, it had been with one bank for years and years and years. And I was thinking, it was back, I believe, before Ralph started, but I'm not sure. I think so. But the council had some on hands with that. I'm pretty sure.
Well, we've got a policy in play, and I'm not
I'm just
completely
asking,
familiar with it.
you know.
But we need to go back and look and double check that. Now, we also do it annually, which is pretty frequently.
Well,
I don't think there's a requirement.
What had happened, I don't think years ago, I don't
Yeah.
think it had been done annually, and that was changed. But I'm just thinking it being sort of like a budget item. In a
So
way.
it's within policy to figure out how frequently it's going to go, and our current policy says annually.
Okay.
And so there's a couple of proposals in that are being evaluated. And
We'll report next month. I have been in contact with the bank since we discussed last night.
And the other thing is Scott texts me between Scott at the state park, they have new playground equipment in.
they do, and it's
They
it's
do.
really neat looking. It's neat looking. Is there by the marina? Is there more than one, or
I don't know, just the one by the marina. was
Yeah,
one
yeah.
because
it's a pirate ship? Good thing for the marina.
I can get Sam Devine down here, we're gonna have our picture made on it, but I haven't gotten him down here yet, so.
Okay. Anything else? No. You're good. Good. To there.
Yes, sir.
All right.
I had CFS. Sorry, I had the bank question
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
I have one thing, if you don't mind.
Okay.
This morning, all 16 of our beds at the First Presbyterian Church, where we've been operating as host site, were collected by Marshall County Need Line, and they're going to dole them out to whoever needs them through the Family Resource Centers. So we had our last group,
Are you done with the host site then?
oh yes.
Okay.
We finished, our last group left on August 3rd. And we're in the process of decommissioning the host site. If you drive by over there, you'll notice that the ramp and everything has been taken away from the shower building. And right now I'm trying to find, hopefully I've got somebody local who's gonna, I didn't know it's gonna be my job to do all this, but anyway, I've got a guy locally who's I'm talking with in hopes of him picking up that shower building and taking it back to Charlotte, North Carolina. And so we're going to have a service at church that by all the parties concerned, and we're going to have a ceremony, on Sunday, yet to be determined which one, but it's probably going to be in October sometime. And we're going to want to invite you guys to come if you'd like to. That much was joining.
Okay.
But I don't know the exact number of groups we've had in, but it's somewhere around 45 different groups over 2.5 years. And so we're kind of sad in a way and really happy at the same time, you know. But it's been a dilly, you know, because there's been so much, and they every single person that went through the paperwork and got qualified, get work done on their home. Every single one of those homes were addressed, and a lot of times they were made better than they were before the tornado. Lots of times. So these groups operated mostly in Marshall, but also in Graves. What happened was you couldn't be sure when the people showed up. A lot of them had skills. Most of them didn't know. Most of them had to learn what they were going to do. So you had to figure out who you had and then fit them to the job. So, but it worked out in the long run, and Presbyterian Church USA donated $225,000 to keep it running the last 6 months of this year, so we can be sure to get everybody finished up.
I'll be looking forward to hearing all the stats.
So, we don't know. I mean, Terry went in the rooms today and she said it was really sad because now everything's gone, but it leaves us kind of with a blank slate to start something new. So, yeah, Mickey Darnold brought some young gentlemen over from Homer's Hilton, and they deconstructed them, put them in his big truck, and they hauled. I think they took some of them to his place. I think they took some of them to the Family Resource Center at Benton, because I think they already have a need for some kids to get some beds, beds and mattresses. So.
Great way to use community resources. Congratulations. Congratulations.
If I knew then what I know now, I don't know if I'd all honesty.
Oh, yeah. I understand.
But I'm glad you did.
Okay. Kevin, I think it's that time.
I'd like to make a motion with adjourn.
Have a second?
Second.
All right. Anyone against? Silence befalls.
Yeah, me.
Thank you, everyone.
Good job, Kevin.
Well,
My